Hey everybody, Tom here with Hidden Beats again, and today we have the lovely Raquel Cole. How are you?
Hey, so great. How are you doing?
Pretty good. For those who are new to you as a musician, you want to give kind of a little intro about what you do?
I play music. I write songs. I play guitar. It's all I've ever really done. I'm from Vernon, BC. I live in Nashville currently, and yeah, just on this crazy ride.
hmm So did you come from a musical family? How did you get into wanting to do music?
I honestly, my parents always told me I was singing before I could talk, so I do think there was just something in me that loved music that is unexplainable. But I was lucky that my parents loved music too, and so we always had it playing in the house. And my dad actually plays the drums, and so he was honestly the reason I started playing guitar so young. And we would like jam in the basement, and we started a little band when I was younger in like seventh grade. My friend Sid played bass, and we would have band practice every Thursday. Um, and then yeah, I just started writing songs not long after that. Once I started playing guitar, and I always tell people that I think being a songwriter and writing songs is really what um, made the difference for me of like finding a career in music and getting to Nashville, and it opened a lot of doors for me.
hmm Did what were your musical inspirations when you were coming up? Did you kind of focus on certain artists that you wanted to emulate a little bit, or just everywhere?
The honest truth is, I think when Avril Lavigne came out with that record, I was in, what grade was I in? Like fourth grade or something. And I mean that was a really big moment because up until then it was like a lot of Britney and Christina, and I mean I didn't grow up with a country station, so I knew of Shania and Faith Hill, but I knew of them because they had a lot of those pop crossover songs. In Vernon, we didn't have a country station, neither did my parents listen to country music. And so when Avril came out with that record with Complicated, it was the first time I saw a girl playing guitar and wearing sneakers and had straight long hair. And I was like, I could do that. I could be that. And I think that was a really big moment for me. Um, Kind of realizing that I wanted to be a musician and write my songs. And then when I got to Nashville when I was about 15, and to on a songwriting trip actually, and I discovered Lady Antebellum and Keith Urban, and went to the Grand Ole Opry, and really fell in love with country music and its storytelling and its authenticity. And it wasn't too much long after that that I felt that country was the direction I wanted to go with my music.
I mean, country definitely is one of the pinnacles of storytelling in music, so that makes sense for sure.
Yeah, totally. And I think it's just and even today, I think it's very much based around the musicianship and the songwriting and the vocalist. So I love country music for that.
Nice. One of the headlines that I found pretty much scattered across everything to do with you on like Google was a dynamic or dynamite vocalist, songwriter, and a guitar slinger to boot. So, I mean, how do you feel about that type of headline for yourself?
That was American Songwriter, and that was super sweet of them to say that. And I love it because people always ask me like, what's your favorite part about what you do, or what do you describe yourself, most, a singer, a songwriter, a guitar player. And for me, it's like all encompassing. Like I can't imagine myself one without the other. Um, I write songs so I can sing, and I play guitar so I can sing, and it all just like comes together. So it was a really nice compliment.
And I mean, so I listened to some of your music before this, and you're definitely a dynamite vocalist, and your songwriting skills are right there in guitar. So, what's your process like when you're coming up with music? I know you went to writing groups and stuff, but do you like to sit in a room and hash something out, or how do you usually work?
So originally, it was like when I was much younger, I would just play my guitar and words would fall out on the page, and then I would, come back to it and kind of finish the story. Moving to Nashville and just going to Nashville really changed my style of writing because I started to get in rooms at 11 a.m., 10 a.m., and try and write songs with other people. And I love collaborating because I feel like when you're stumped or, one, I don't know about you, but I think I have ADHD sometimes because it's really hard to focus,
Mm.
I'm like, I start on something and I'm like, this is hard. I'm gonna go do something else. And so I love co-writing too because it actually makes you finish a song, and it's more fun. Everything's more fun when you do it with somebody else.
Yeah, for sure. Is there any people that you worked with that you kind of went like, oh damn, this is amazing? Like that extra experience out of that?
Yeah, I really feel lucky that I got to write with some really big writers when I first moved to Nashville. Stephanie Bentley, who wrote "Breathe" for Faith Hill, and Tommy Jones, and like a lot of cool, really successful writers. But the funny thing is, I feel like a lot of the songs that I would end up playing at my shows or wanting to record were songs that I were writing with up and coming artists like myself or up and coming songwriters like myself. I think there was just this level of like hunger to like write the best song you've ever, and get your songs out there, and I still feel like that's true today. And so there's just I write with so many different people and I love it because it just gets so many different ideas and differences in people's writing.
And as an up and coming artist yourself, who are some of your favorites out there? You've worked with a lot of people at this point, so I'm assuming you have a couple ones that you really enjoy hearing and working with.
Yeah, another artist and friend of mine, she's Canadian as well, Molly Brown. I love writing with her. She's such a talent and has such a big career ahead of her. There's Nell Maynard. She is just a songwriter in town, but young and fearless and amazing. And then I used to write a lot with Ben and Chad Truman, and their dad is actually in Diamond Rio, and I used to open a lot of shows for Diamond Rio. So that's how I met them, and they're living out in Utah now. But we wrote a lot of songs together, and some of which I've recorded and I play out.
Nice. And you were recently on a single with Don Amero, I think I have written down here. Let you
Don Amero.
Amero. That's
Yeah,
okay. My writing's horrible.
it's okay. So is mine.
Hmm. How was that? That I actually listened to that too, and that sounded really fun.
Oh, thank you so much. It was very cool. I've actually never recorded a song that I didn't write, and but it's so fun how once you record the song and play the song, and first time I heard it, I loved it. I was like, I could totally see myself singing it. And um, Don and his team reached out, and they were looking for someone to sing the duet with him, and it was an automatic yes for me. I'd met Don in the SiriusXM Top of the Country competition last year that I was a part of. And he's just such a genuine artist and so authentic with his songs and his writing. And it was a no-brainer to say yes. And I'm so glad I did because it's doing so well on country radio. And we've got a video out for it and lots of streams. And it's just been really fun to be on that journey with him.
It was a great song. Like I love you guys sound amazing together with the harmonies and everything. So when I listened to that
Thank
one, I was
you.
like, that's a great song for sure.
Thank you so much.
Hmm. I also read, or I guess found out, that you're a member of a group called The Woods.
I am.
When did that come
Yeah.
about?
The great old pandemic. That was a scary time, I think, for so many of us, musicians and non-musicians, of just what's going to happen, and not being able to go out and play shows, not even be, I wrote so much on Zoom for the first time in my life, and I was, I had my bubble of friends that I would hang out with and spend time with, and they were already a group. They were looking to find a third member. They were in the early stages, and I was already a fan, in Nashville. What's so fun about living there around your peers is a Wednesday night, you just get, instead of just going out for dinner, you get to go out to a bar or a venue or whatever and see your friends play. And so I was a big fan of them. And they wanted to start these live streams on Tuesday nights. And so I said, hey, I'll sing with, I know these well enough. I'll learn them and I'll sing the few songs that you guys have until you find your third member. Well, here we are a couple years later, and it's been one of the most fun things ever. I've toured so much solo acoustic. Right now, I'm on tour with Washboard Union across Canada, and And I love doing those opening gigs solo acoustic, but there is something so great about, like I said earlier, playing music with other people. And so we do three-part harmony and we write a lot together. And I just started saying yes to things in my life that made me happy, and this makes me really happy.
It was a good kind of piece of music that I kind of stumbled upon randomly when I was looking you up, and it almost gave me like a little bit, what is it, Little Big Town vibes, where
Thank you.
yeah, it was kind of,
Yeah.
I like the harmonies and just the feel that you guys had with that.
Thank you for saying that. Yeah, we're definitely also like an ode to the 70s, and it's very different music to my Raquel Cole stuff. And so I was mentioning my dad being a drummer, and we definitely I grew up listening to 70s rock and roll and learning how to play Bachman Turner Overdrive and Boston and Fleetwood Mac, and so I do feel like the woods is sort of an outlet for me to get to sort of express this other kind of style of music that I've always loved as well.
hmm And now during COVID and everything, how was it trying to balance your solo stuff, the woods, trying to just navigate through life at that moment with everything?
Right. Well, during COVID, it was a lot easier because most things I did was on the computer, like what we're doing right now. So, it's getting, now that the world's opened up more and we're playing shows, it's definitely, uh, you know, I got to be on top of things, but it's definitely doable, and I just get to play that much more music. And I think that for me is the easy yes for it all.
hmm So, like with the world opening up, the one of the main reasons we're actually talking today is your upcoming trip to Cavendish.
Yes.
How excited are you for that?
I'm so excited. I actually got to do the road back to Cavendish shows with the Washboard Union back in May. They were supposed to be back in, February, but here we are.
hmm
And I had the best time. I got a little bit sick at the end of the trip, just run down, and no COVID. And so I didn't really get to enjoy Charlottetown the way that I wanted to and explore because I just wasn't feeling the best. So I'm just so excited. I've booked an extra day so I can do all the fun sightseeing. And then I'm just so excited to play that festival. I've heard about it for years and how I need to get out there. And so I'm just honored that they put me on the main stage my first year. And I'm kind of like nervous though. I haven't played a big stage like that in a long time, and so I'm just very excited and ready to do it.
Yeah, my understanding is so I'm based in Ottawa, like in the middle of the country basically, and
Nice.
I haven't been out to something like that. But when I got the opportunity to talk to some of you guys who are actually going there, you're actually the fifth person I've interviewed going to Cavendish.
Ooh,
So
very cool.
I got a whole road to Cavendish series I'm going to be dropping with everybody. But
I
everyone
love that
says,
idea.
yeah, everyone says it's like down home feeling, good vibes, music. Everyone has fun. It's a different level of enjoyment there.
I can totally see that. Just, I mean, even the shows that I did get to play recently, it's just such a vibe over there.
hmm
So you're totally right about that. But I love that you're near Ottawa. I just got to go to Ottawa for the very first time, and little nerd Raquel nerded out over the Parliament buildings and all that. But it's so beautiful there. You guys are so lucky.
It's beautiful and then also complicated with, just because it's a political town, there's always something weird going on.
I could see that being a thing. Yeah, there was a little bit of something when I was there, but I was a good
Yeah, I
given.
mean, we had there was the trucker convoy thing for a while, and then we've had protests all over the place, and I'm at the point where I'm just outside the the downtown core, so I only get the outskirts of it, but it's still super annoying.
Well, I don't know, maybe you need to come out and move to BC where I'm from. I was
I
just there last week playing a festival, and man, I miss it so much.
I do plan on taking a trip. So I actually was born in Alberta, so I do plan on trying to get a trip back out that way at some point.
There you go.
hmm
Fun. Love that.
hmm One of my fun questions I like to ask, because it kind of, the way the music scene is right now, everyone has different opinions on it, but I always like to know if you like to put an album together that tells a story, or are you more of a singles type of release person?
Hmm. I think think a lot of artists would prefer to put out a whole project, because we write so much, and it's this feeling of like, I want people, I want to put my songs out. We live in a singles world, so I think we're not forced to do, no one's forced to do anything, but it feels like more of a strategic move to do that. So, um, I think I like the idea of putting together I put out my debut EP, Personal Truth, back a while ago now, 2018. I recorded it in Winnipeg with my producer Chris Bergaffney at the time, and it was called Personal Truth because every song on that EP was something that was like very part of me and my truth and something I needed to share, like a confession almost,
Mhm.
and so I put out Think About You last year during the Sirius XM competition, and I've got a new single that I'm really excited to put out later this summer, and that I just finished with Danik Dupel, and my amazing producer, who also did Think About You. And but now that you say it, I don't know if I have a super big plan. I definitely have an EP kind of in the works, but I'm still trying to figure out exactly what the connecting things are.
Mhm.
So I'm glad you brought that up. I'm gonna get to thinking.
Yeah, I always like, because music is telling stories, but you can tell stories different way. But myself, I'd like to listen to an album that tells, from A to B and all the way to the end with that whole story. And I find it interesting the way people, well, I guess the music scene now, you almost have to release singles just to stay relevant because there's just too much out there.
Yeah, I guess there's the fear that if you put out a bunch of songs at once, that, one song will get noticed and the others won't. And then once you've released it, it's very hard to get it, on playlists and all that kind of stuff on Spotify and Apple Music. And so there's a bit more control. I'm like, I'm letting,
Okay, I think we're back. Okay, well, technical difficulties aside, I do have a handful of questions I do like to ask everybody, some fun ones, and makes you think a little bit and gets a little more insight of who you are. One of my writers specifically wanted me to ask, and I don't know if he's thinking it's a joke or not, but do you think a hot dog is a sandwich?
oh wow, I've never thought about this. I'm gonna say no, it's not.
Now, what's your reasoning for that?
Because the bun is only cut on one side. A sandwich has two pieces, right?
I mean, yeah, you're right. It's the great debate that everyone has is what constitutes a sandwich.
That would be my reasoning.
Okay. And I'm going to test him on this too to make sure he has to watch every one of these videos because I'm only telling him there's a couple instances and he has to go find them so he knows that I
Okay.
actually asked.
Oh my gosh.
Mhm. Another one that I like is, what's something that's on your go-to playlist that people wouldn't expect that you listen to?
Ooh, that wouldn't expect me to listen to?
Yeah,
I
almost
don't
maybe a
know.
guilty pleasure song or something that it's just there and you have fun with, but it's not out there in the world that you listen to it all the time.
When I want to like feel good and dance in my car, I definitely put on the Sugar song by Maroon 5.
That's a good one. I actually have that on
I
my playlist too.
It's so good. Like that's like when I really just want to like, pump it up. But I don't know. Someone might think I listen to that. I don't know.
I mean, I like to tell people if they have trouble with that question that my guilty pleasure song is Super Bass with Nicki Minaj, just because the energy on that is
That's a
fun.
good one.
Hmm.
That's a really good one. I'm sure I have like a really, you know, whatever. Recently on the road, Bakersfield. Da-na-na-na-na-na. I'm really
Hmm.
into that song these days. So that might be one that no one would think I listen to.
There you go. That's fun. This one will make you think a little bit more. So, what's one thing that should be asked in interviews that's not asked enough?
Oh, this is like a really, no one's ever asked me that. Um, Ooh, that's a really good question. I don't know. What do other people say?
I get everything across the board from hobbies to just how are you? Like, how's your mental health? How's life? And things like that. People have all kinds of different like answers to that one.
You know what I think would be interesting is if people asked artists more that if they didn't do music, what career path would they choose? Not like a plan B, which that sounds funny when you say it these days. We won't get into that though. But um, yeah, not like, oh, you're not gonna make it in the industry, like what, what's your plan B? But like genuinely just like what else if music wasn't an option, like if you could sing, what would you do? Because I think it says a lot about a person, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
music sometimes feels like a little bit of a cop out, like, well, I'm a singer-songwriter, and you're like, that doesn't tell me anything about you. I mean, it kind of does, but what else in the world are you interested in? Because music really just covers your life, right? Music is art. It's a way to show other things that you're, interested in or about who you are. So there you go.
Okay, that's a good one. And yeah, music is communication and stories and everything around that. So yeah, I like that. Another one I have, which is kind of a two-parter. What is a piece of advice that you were given when you were coming up in music that you've held on to tightly that's really guided you a bit?
Piece of advice. Um, it's funny actually, because it sounds really cheesy, but just being authentic to who you are and your sound, and there's a lot to unpack with that, that's a very broad answer if you really think about it, because how do you do that? What does that look like? And it comes down to all the choices you make on the gigs you say yes to and the things you say no to. Um, I didn't realize that being an authentic artist was really the things that I said yes and no to, and realizing that I didn't have to do it to please anybody. And so someone had given me that advice, but until I really stepped into it, I'm not sure I really understood it.
No, that makes sense. And it has to mean something for you as long as other people. So if you're doing it for yourself, then it probably will hit home a little bit more with someone else too.
Definitely.
Now, with that, is there advice that you would give to up and coming artists that you've learned on the way?
Honestly, I would pass the same advice on just because I think there's always going to be somebody telling you what you should do. And it's a lot easier, I think. It's better to make your own mistakes and then learn from them than let other people make mistakes for you and then be angry at yourself for not listening to yourself. But if you made the mistake, at least you're just, you don't even really, I mean, you can be angry with yourself, but it's a bit easier, I think, than the other way around.
Because you get to learn what you did versus trying to understand what someone else did, really.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I like that. That's good. And my last kind of question, I guess, was kind of another two-parter in a sense. It speaks to a bit what we talked about is almost a plan B. So what keeps you going in music? Why do you keep doing this?
The the answer that comes to mind is because I don't know what else I would do. I'm like too far into this now to like turn around. But honestly, it's just because I just love it. I don't know. And if I can make this work, why would I do something else? I read something over the pandemic that was, somebody we get it as artists, right? Like not the it's no one's fault, but the judgment of like, what are you doing with your life? Like this isn't a real job, and I read something along the lines of like, okay, well, imagine your life without any movies, without any books to read, without any art to look at, without any music to listen to. Nobody wants a world like that. So feels like it's my calling to add to that, We need that in this life and in this world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, someone's got to do it. So yeah, why not? That's I like that. That's a good note to leave on that point with. And art is subjective to everybody, but it's a necessity for everybody too. Some sort of form of art, with music, with movies, just to distract your mind from thinking about all the other nonsense in the world.
Agreed.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty much all the points I have written down. We kind of ran through them, and then we had our fun technical issue.
Yes, we did.
Mm-hmm. So Cavendish coming up, are you bringing new songs for people to hear? Are they going to be excited for that?
I am. I get to perform Let You with a special guest. Don won't be out there, so that'll be my first time performing that out this summer. And I've got a band with me, an amazing band. I'm gonna play my new single that's gonna be coming out later this summer. So hopefully I'll get to post about that soon. And yeah, and some old songs, some new songs, and it's just gonna be great. It's gonna be great.
Mm-hmm, definitely. I think I have somebody actually going to the festival, so I'm hopefully gonna get some feedback on how you guys did.
Oh,
We'll
well,
see. I got to make some more phone
hopefully
calls and
it's
see.
it's hopefully it's good feedback.
Oh, I'm sure it is. I mean, I know you a little bit more as a person now, and I'm sure you're gonna do great. Just like everyone else is probably gonna enjoy what you're doing.
Thank you so much for saying that.
Mm-hmm. Where can everybody find you on social media?
Ooh, Raquel Cole Music. And that's my no, my website's actually raquelcole.com. Got that one.
There you
But yeah,
go.
Raquel Cole Music. You can find me anywhere.
All right, we'll make sure that we highlight that somewhere, I guess, in the description for you.
Perfect. Thank you.
It was an absolute pleasure having this conversation with you, and I wish you good luck at Cavendish. And hopefully, we're going to
Thank
get to
you
do
so
this once
much.
again.
Yes, I would love that. Please contact me anytime. I'd love to chat. This has been so fun.
Awesome. Well, you enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll be seeing you.